Hello and welcome to the AltarProject. It is here, week 2 of AltarProject's Build Month! This week we'll be flying up north to Finland, south if you live in the North Pole or something. Today is a continuation of the World Heritage Site series, this time making a build inspired by the Verla groundwood and board mill. Its brick aesthetic, architecture, and history are all breathtaking, so without further ado, let's get into it. So Verla Groundwood and Board Mill was actually a paper and board manufacturing site back in the late 19th and early 20th century. Thus today we will build with that theme somewhere in mind. We will first begin with laying out the skeleton of our factory. Its brick aesthetic is what made me want to locate this paper mill inside of our steampunk town of Durham, as Durham would also have many buildings made of red bricks. However, unfortunately, the brick blocks in Minecraft are a little darker in color than I wished for, so we would have to improvise around that. Another reason why I chose this World Heritage Site is because of its beautiful neo-Gothic style architecture, which was so much fun to build. With the basics laid out, I began with refining this walkway just because it looked much easier to decorate compared to the brick walls. Our walkway here uses brown terracotta as its base material, and to prevent the wall from looking too flat and Minecrafty, other brown shaded blocks were used as well. This didn't go exactly the same for the brick buildings though. For my builds, I focus a lot on having variation, even if the material is supposed to be the same. While simplicity is definitely a charm of Minecraft, it also functions as a limit. For example, in Minecraft, an endless wall of brick would forever look the same and will repeat the same texture, which we know isn't the case in real life. Small cracks, distinct sizes, our eyes are already used to the imperfection of things, which is why it looks so weird when we observe a wall filled with perfectly aligned bricks. However, this limit in Minecraft is fortunately something that can be played around with. Like we did for the walkway, we could add variations of similar colors to make the building look a little more believable. However, there aren't many blocks that share a similar tint with the brick blocks. Thus, a very long time was spent trying to find a color balance between blocks that I felt happy about. While inspired by the Verla mills, I wanted to add a bit of my own originality into this build as well, which led to the construction of pipes, gears, alteration, architecture, and other assets. While building a World Heritage Site inspired build, I wanted to also respect the steampunk theme that Durham was aiming for. The Verla groundwood and board mill also has what from this angle looks like a tower, but now that I think about it, it might be a chimney? Look, if that's a chimney, that's an L to my planning skills, but I built that thinking that it was something similar to an obelisk, so forgive me. And from here on out, it is mostly refining. But before we step into the last stages of our build, let's talk a little bit more about the history of the Verla groundwood and board mill. The Verla groundwood mill was established in 1872, and the board mill came 10 years later in 1882. Rather than just this one building, this World Heritage Site includes the whole industrial settlement, which at its highest was home to 160 employees in 1951. The Verla mills are associated with its long history manufacturing pulp, paper, and boards that to my knowledge are similar to the modern day cardboard. Its environment encompassed with trees and rapids made the site an excellent spot to manufacture boards and paper. Thus the property also includes 3 individual water power plants from 3 various decades. Within the process of making paper and cardboard, drying them is an inevitable step. However, this step requires a lot of heat. A little too much heat perhaps. The mill, when it was first founded by the Finnish engineer Hugo Newman, was built out of wood, which you could imagine wasn't very compatible with the baking ovens inside. Therefore, it burned down. But no fret, because a second mill was built, this time being made out of wood. So that one also burned down. And then finally, there's the mill we have today, neo-Gothic, and this time made of bricks. Inside is a whole mechanic gallery of machines and tools required to make paper and cardboard. Demands for their product rose as they expanded their business to other European countries as well as the United States. Using Verla's cardboard, a variety of packaging materials were made, including cigarette packs, candy containers, book covers, and shoe boxes. During the Finnish Civil War, the property was occupied by the Finnish Socialist Workers' Republic. However, remarkably, the site didn't endure any damage during this time at all. While its production declined significantly, they still made profit as their boards were used for ammunition boxes. After the Second World War, the Verla mills continued their production. However, in 1964, the curtains on their long paper and board manufacturing journey closed, and their machines and equipment were left just as they were. The Verla mills were then converted into a museum in 1972 where people can now visit to unpack their rich and beautiful history. And more fun facts about this World Heritage Site will be said after we finish today's build. However, for now, let's get back into building. After mostly refining the structures, I went ahead to change the topography of the land underneath the river. I then shifted gears and added my finishing touches to the gardens and the small island. Many original features were also incorporated into this build, for example the large electrical outlets and the massive colored wires underwater. However, I wanted to add one last asset of my own, which is this massive funnel where the workers here would pour wood chips which would later be converted into paper and maybe cardboard. And that's pretty much it. Flood the river with water again and we have ourselves a paper and cardboard factory in Durham. I really do want to get into the extra fun facts about the Verla mills, so without further ado, let's quickly get on with the cinematic. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the cinematic. Before you leave, I would love to disclose a few fun facts about the Verla mills that I wasn't able to mention earlier. The first being the topic of transportation. Wood was used in making paper and cardboard at the Verla mills. However, the way they transported these wood logs from the forest to the mills is rather interesting. They used a method called log driving where they would basically dump the logs into the nearby river where they would then push them all the way back to the Verla mills. And my last fun fact pertains to this lady. Her name is Maria Mattsson, and she is recorded to be Verla Mill's best known employee. She worked as a sorter for 52 years, starting from 1884 to 1936, and museum visitors can view traces of her footsteps on the pinewood floor that she managed to wear away throughout the decades she worked there. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and its World Heritage Site. I know I had fun building and researching about it. There's a lot of information I wasn't able to speak about in this video, so if you have the time, do check their website out as it tells a lot of stories about them and their board making processes. So that's pretty much it for today guys. Take care and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!